Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Outpost Review. This is our brand new channel. It's actually a brand channel under Smoky Mountain Outpost. We decided to start this channel to give you more behind the scenes on what, why, and how we're doing things. And so hopefully this will give you more information on what we're doing up here at the Outpost. What I'm doing today is I'm going to pre-wire underneath the house for some lighting. I figured it would be easier to do it now than as opposed to when I kind of get it closed up with insulation and my plywood flooring and such. So anyway, I stopped by Lowe's. Can you believe that they only had 2 boxes? So I got 2. I'm actually going to put 4 lights, 1 on each end and 1 on each side. But I got the only 2 that they had. I called one of my friends who's an electrician because the price of wiring, I don't know if you've checked it lately, it was like $70 if I remember correctly, or maybe a little bit more, for 250 feet of 12-2 wire. So I called him, I said, hey, is this right? And he goes, yeah, that's about the norm now. He said, what kind of lights you going to run? I said, just lights underneath the house. He says, well, the LED would probably be the best because they put off more light, and he said they don't draw as much energy, and he said you could actually use the 14-2 wire, which is being accepted now. So what I did was I got 250 feet of that. It was about $30 cheaper, so I went ahead and got that. Got some old-fashioned staples right here, and I got some screws, 2.5-inch screws, because I think what I've decided that I'm going to do is I've been trying to decide on flooring, and I had a comment from someone, a friend, who said that they had put down plywood and had burned it with that Shosugi method and then put a clear sealant over the top of it, and it actually turned out really nice. So my intentions are, when I get this insulation put in, and I've got that radiant barrier that I'm putting in that we did introduce in this last video, I am going to, I think I can get away with just 3/4-inch plywood. So what I'm going to do is around the perimeter, I'm going to go ahead and screw it in, and then I may just snap some lines and take my nail gun and finish nailing it. But I don't know, I may go ahead and screw it all. What I'm going to have to do is kind of countersink them a little bit so I can go back and put some sort of a filler in there, and that way I don't see the screw heads, and then sand off any of the blue lines, and then if I do this, put a clear finish on it, then I'll basically, because I was wanting a hardwood floor, so I may just go ahead and use, throw rugs here and there. So, but I'm excited to get that floor down, because what I can do then is I can go ahead and put a flue in, since it's getting closer to our winter time, which is really January, February. I can go ahead and put a wood stove in there and heat the place, and what I'm probably going to have to do at some point real soon is close that top in, but I didn't want to do it while we still had warm weather because it may create a hot box in there for me to work. So, but anyway, that's kind of what I've got going on up here currently. So yeah, we just hope that you get excited about this new channel, and also talking with my son, we're going to try to do 2 of these a week. So we post on Smoky Mountain Outpost Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're going to try to put these out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So just bear with us. We're going to, since this is something new, we're going to do our best at it, but we want to give back to those people that are supporting this channel as well, so we've decided to go ahead and do giveaways. And just like our main channel, you make a comment at the first of the month when we announce the previous month's winner, and then what we're going to do is we will show you what we're going to be giving away for that month, and that video right there is the one that you go down into past the description section, you make a comment, and you're in. We pull those comments at the end of the month and we draw a winner. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a giveaway in the month of December. Since this is mid-November, we will start in December. So be looking forward to that. We greatly appreciate all your support, and we just hope that you enjoy this new channel. got to be careful walking in here. But you know, we've had a lot of comments of people asking us about the cabin and the layout that I had in mind. I actually just kind of built this as I went, but I had in mind that I wanted 1,000 square feet, so roughly 26 by 39 gave me that. So I figured that, you know, since I was going to use 2 by 10s and I was going to do 7 by 7 beams, with the exception of the ones that the floor joists sit on, they're 10 inches deep. But the 7 by 7s that run parallel with the floor joists, they would match the posts and just make things a whole lot easier to do and be a lot more structurally sound. So that's what I did. All of these are 7 by 7. The posts are 7 by 7. The beams that run this way are 7 by 7, and those that run this way that the joists connect to are 7 by 10. But what I've got in mind is I'm going to have a bathroom in this location right here. In the front of it, I'm going to have a means to have a washer and dryer. Now, I'm trying to stay off grid as much as possible, but I know that later on when I get older, I won't be able to physically do things as easy. So there may come a point in time where I need power. So I'm going to go ahead and make arrangements for that. And so I'm going to pull all of my wiring from this location. So inside of the washer and dryer area, I'll have a panel on the back side of the wall that will have where all the wiring will come to. I'm going to do a rain catchment system and try to avoid getting a well, because I buy all the water that I drink anyway. And there are some certain springs around here that come out of the mountain where they have a pipe tapped into it, where you can just pull over to the side of the road and get fresh mountain water. So I may do that as well. But anyway, the rainwater will service the sink, it will service the washer, and it will also service the bathtub or the shower. So that's what I've got in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some wiring from this location right here. And standing here, I was thinking that I put that support down there for the stove, the wood stove that I'm going to have later on. So I probably am going to locate 2 lights right here and then 2 lights down there facing this way, and that should be sufficient. But let me show you what I've got in mind for the rest of the cabin. So each one of these sections are pretty much divided up into a 13-foot square. I just showed you that section over there in the corner. The wall will come out so far for the bathroom, but then I'll have an area for a desk and so forth, and a door, because I've got in mind to put a small back deck on that corner back there, because I've already left mortises in the post on the outside for those. But that will come later. Pretty much this is all going to be open. This area right here, this 13-foot section all the way to the front, basically where the camera's at, straight ahead, this is going to be kind of like a living space. Back here is where I put the support for the stove, just some added extra support because of the weight. Not that the floor joist wouldn't handle it, but just, you know, while I was doing it, I had some support, extra support. So the stove will probably go about 18 inches from the back of the wall. I'll have a wall behind this that is basically going to be like concrete board, just to help protect the wall from any heat that the wood stove puts out. But it's going to sit pretty much right here where I'm standing, kind of like this and so forth. And then, you know, this whole area right in here is going to be open. My intentions are to build, originally I was just going to have 1 bedroom, but I'm going to put a bedroom over here in this corner and one over there in that corner. Probably put 2 doors like right here, pretty much side by side. I'm going to have a fairly good size closet in each one of them, because it is a 13-foot square. This area here where I came in primarily is going to be my kitchen. I will have a door right here that I can exit, and I will have a door not quite in the middle of the house, but I'm going to have a full deck porch on the front from end to end, and I will put a door somewhere in there with steps coming up to get in. But this area right here is going to be the kitchen. So exactly how I'm going to lay it out yet, I don't know, because I'm just building as I go, finding good ideas and then implementing those into what I'm doing.
Good girl. What? Oh, that one out there is the little one. Hey, honey.
Okay, Jennifer says that we're going to call him Smokey. You like that name? Do you? You like that name?
That is nice. Long.
Look at you. Look at you.
That was a big one. She won't want it.
I don't know if you can hear that wind, but I think it's due to the fact that we've had a lot of the hurricanes actually make it pretty far inland, not only with just the rain, but with wind as well. The wind the other day, the plastic actually held up fairly well, and those winds were plus 30. But I noticed cooking recently that it's not that ashes are really blowing out, which some of them are very badly, but what's happening is the wind is whipping the fire. So just to be on the safe side, I think what I'm going to do is, I've got some of these fire brick left. I'm going to go ahead and brick up to the back of this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my neighbor make me a door. I'm going to drill some holes down here, put it on a hinge, and basically have it to fold up this high right here. That way, if there are some high winds, I can actually close that up and have pretty much kind of like a well where it won't whip it around so bad. And then I'll also be able to, see that? I'll also be able to drop it down to where I can get the ashes out, and I can also continue to build a fire without having to take those grates out. So I think that's going to be a pretty good idea, and possibly a remedy for that. I stopped at Lowe's. I talked with my son. I'm going to begin putting that insulation in here real soon, and I'm going to try to install it from the top instead of pushing it up from the bottom, because of that reflective barrier that I'm going to put on the bottom side. I wanted to leave myself an airspace so that it wasn't touching that, according to the way that my nephew explained it on the last video. That wind is probably somewhere around 5-10 miles an hour today. But anyway, so I called my son and wanted to check the price of a battery operated stapler, but Lowe's didn't really have one. They had one that was plugs into power, which I don't have power up here. I do have the generator, but I didn't want to run that just to staple that. And the last home that I built, I basically had used a staple gun like this, just a manual staple gun. And I told him, I said, you know, I'm not going to spend the money for that battery operated, because primarily this is going to be a one-time deal. It's not something that I would really use over and over unless I was running wiring or something like that, which I can use this right here. But primarily, you can see this jacket. I spent about 30 years with AT&T. This is one of the jackets kind of made like Carhartt that I have kept, and you may have seen my son wearing it up here doing some work on the cabin before. But anyway, I use one of these every day, stapling telephone wire and things like that. So I'm not a stranger to the manual operation. But yeah, this was a whole lot cheaper, and it's going to serve the purpose. This one is actually a kind of like a T50. These are 9/16 inch staples right here, which will hold it a lot better than something that's narrow. So that's the way that I'm going to install, and like I said, I'm going to put it in and push it down between the floor joists, and I'm going to turn the paper lip up, and we're going to staple it on the inside of the floor joist. Alright, do you remember the story pole that I used when I was cutting logs? A story pole basically is something that you can carry that's marked off in feet, where you don't have to carry a tape measure. You can make it out, this just happened to be a 2x2, you can make it out of a stick or whatever. A lot of lumberjacks or woodsmen, people that cut logs for a living, would use something like this back in the day. They may still use that, I'm not quite sure, but at any rate, I had it marked off at 6.5 feet because when you're cutting lumber, you want it a little bit longer so that when you actually like run it through on the sawmill, you don't have to stop and measure it. You know that it's long enough. You just mill it up, and then you have to square off one end, then you measure and cut your other end. But so it was marked off 6.5 feet, and I've got these, or this blocking that I put in here in between my floor joists. So from basically they all measure about the same. One of them is 73 inches, the other one's 71.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I got my 6 foot mark here, and I've got this lined up. Since I moved that pole, let me check it and see. Got that lined up on the very end down there. Then I can come up here basically with my square, and I need to be about 1 inch beyond that mark, which is like that. So then I will take my knife, come in here and score that. It's cut. So the pieces that I end up having will go in the very edge down there. I'm going to have to cut it again, but I've got some small areas that I'll be able to use that. But that is how we measure and cut. So now we'll go over here and install it. I apologize for not having any more room than I do to set the camera up to get a better view, but basically what we're going to do, we're going to slide this down in between that. That's what I'm going to end up with. My plywood will go down. I still see my floor joists where I can actually screw and or nail my plywood, and I've got it in place. It doesn't touch the bottom where I'm going to put my reflective barrier. I've got actually a dead air space on top and on the bottom that's going to be between the actual fiberglass portion and the reflective barriers. Well guys, this is going to be your first product review. Now, you've seen my jacket earlier today. I had spent almost 30 years with AT&T. So I am not a stranger. This is a T25 stapler. I am not a stranger to this at all. This is what the Bell Systems used that I had used for 30 years. It's a very good staple gun. But as you've seen me in there putting that installation up, this is the one that I purchased, which is the Bostitch. Alright, it says it's heavy duty. I'm not really sure which model it was. Of course, Bostitch is made by Stanley. One thing that I do like about it is it's got this little hook on it right here. Okay. The other thing too that I noticed that's different between this and the arrow stapler, when you go to load it, this will not come out. You load it from the bottom right here and they slide up, and then you push this too and it locks in place. These are easy to lose, or they're easy to drop. Now, the arrow stapler has the same, pretty much, spring-loaded system, but this actually comes out. You load these from the rear, and then you slide that in there, and that locks in place. Now, like I say, both of them seem to perform the same. But I prefer this model right here over the one that I had used for 30 years simply because of this right here. You can't lose it, you can't drop it, it's there. They load a little bit differently, but I really like that because if I'd have dropped it in between those floor joists, then I would have to crawl down there, get it, and then crawl back up. So I really like that. I like this little hanger. Like I said, they both seem to perform the same. Now, what I was using were these staples right here. Can you see that right there? These are 9/16" staples. So, it was performing quite well. Had no issues with it. Used the other one, like I said, for many years. Never really had any issues with those other than the fact that I dropped that piece right here several times. So, first product review, I believe that the Bostitch is designed a little bit better than the arrow stapler. That is just my opinion, because I've used both of them. Used this one for the first time today, and I think that I prefer this model right here over this one. So the little clip that you've seen of the puppies, I was kind of up in the air about which kind of dog I was going to get. It was either going to be a husky or a lab, and we happened to find this lab, which is AKC registered, and we went to check them out. They're not going to be available until the first, to take home, until I think the first weekend, or after the first week of December. But anyway, I told my daughter the other day, I said, well, what do you think that we ought to name the dog? It's a little boy. And she goes, duh, we're going to name it Smokey. Never even crossed my mind. So the little puppy, the little male lab, his name has become Smokey. So I'm looking forward to picking him up and him keeping me company up here at the Outpost. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. I hope that it was informative. I hope that this behind the scenes gives you a little bit more detail about what we're doing. And as soon as we receive some of the new merchandise that we're waiting on, look forward to giving you some more product reviews. So speaking of the name Smokey, my son and I, we were talking about the beginning of the channel. And you know, that logo that rolls out there after the chainsaw at the beginning of every video that we've got has the bear, and then it says Smoky Mountain Outpost. And so I'm going to shoot you over to Patrick, because he was wanting to talk about how we actually came up with that idea and all of the behind the scenes work that he did into making that happen. So Patrick, tell us all about it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Texas. Like my dad said, I wanted to share with you how our logo came to be. And so in the beginning, once we came up with Smoky Mountain Outpost, we didn't know what the actual symbol was going to be to symbolize Smoky Mountain Outpost and what it was going to stand for and all that kind of stuff. Like, was it going to be a tool? What tool? An animal? What animal? And so my dad had talked about wanting to have like patches made at some point to put on like a hat or a belt or the side of your shoulder or a jacket or something like that, or a backpack. And so he had sent me a picture of this black and white bear. And so I have this app called Over. I pay monthly for it, and I'd had it for a while that I just do like abstract stuff with. And so I started throwing around ideas kind of like in a circle with the name Smoky Mountain Outpost written on it. I guess it would be written this way, Smoky Mountain Outpost, from your perspective. And after he sent me that bear, we went back and forth through so many different iterations of the logo, even before the bear came to be, of stuff that he was making on his PC laptop before he got his Mac. Not that there's anything better with the two, but he knew PC enough to where he could kind of mess around with stuff in Microsoft Word or Paint or something. I don't know what he was using back then. And so we had sent stuff back and forth, and then I started sending him stuff of like, you know, a buck or like some sort of other animal or a bear standing up. And so once he finally sent me that logo and he said, hey, check this out, see if you can use it, I threw it in there, put Smoky Mountain Outpost around it, and I didn't really know how to like solidify and make the logo really look like a circle without there actually being a circle drawn. And so but I wanted to kind of look rustic, and I didn't know how to kind of distress the image yet. And so what I did was I looked up coffee stain, and I took the coffee stain, and it was already in a circle, and I just kind of erased parts of it, which you now know as like the remaining part of the circle that Smoky Mountain Outpost doesn't completely finish and cover. And so that's kind of how that came to be. But it took so many different I'll show you some clips here. I'll try to include them of things of what the actual original logos were looking. We didn't even know the original names were like Legendary Outpost and like Blue Ridge Outpost and what were some of the other names? Straight Up Outdoors, or there were so many different names that we were looking for to try to have it make sense and have a ring to it that was available, but that also was region specific. And so then we were like, okay, Smoky Mountain Outpost. And then he sent me the bear, and it's like, oh, okay, like there's bears there. So it just kind of started to make sense. But I know a lot of you, and we didn't know if the logo was going to be any good, but I know a lot of you have said that you like the logo, and that came from my phone. I had no idea how to work Photoshop. I had no idea how to work, like the creative apps that people do stuff on. I just had my phone. I took a coffee stain, cut out part of the circle, threw the name on there, threw the bear on there, and then eventually, in order to get it printed on a t-shirt, it had to be a transparent image. So then I had to eventually look up how to take the white out of a logo on Photoshop so that it could be all black and be transparent, so I could print it on a shirt. And so, but I just wanted to share with you like the journey that we went through. And like I said, I'll include some pictures and some video on here that I've just saved over, the long while to make the actual logo. And then since then, you've seen different iterations of SMO and Smoky Mountain Outpost and different things that I've just done. And they were all done on my phone. Every single one of them were done on my phone, except for the last couple where they just say Outpost and it's like really distressed looking. That I did on Photoshop on my computer. But the actual logo itself, the Outpost, the font, all that stuff was done on my phone. So any of you creatives out there who, are watching this channel, who are wanting to start your own channel or wanting to make your own thing or make your own brand, you don't have to look any further than your phone. And you don't even have to spend the money that I used to use free stuff all the time. But then I decided to go with Over because I was starting to kind of get a little bit more creative, and I wanted a little bit more feedback from the input that I was giving from apps. And so I just want to let you know anything is possible. And that's just to say I mean, this channel could have been nothing, but you know, we started it from nothing. It was zero. And so I just wanted to encourage you guys and then also share with you, you know, kind of where we came from. So thank you guys for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you back up at the Outpost next time.